So I was thinking about how some roles are so categorical, you know, like the five big ones, the apostles and the teachers and the pastors and all of that. And then some roles may be less defined, but then even there, the work of the Lord is preserved. Mordecai was behind saving an entire people group, and he's notable for nudging Esther, Queen Esther, into the thick of things, where Esther arose and sought to save her people sacrificially. But I was thinking of what happened before that. We remember that Mordecai uncovered a plot to kill the king. And so then the king's life was preserved back then. Now, think of if the king had died. What would that have meant for Esther's position, Esther's role, Esther's influence? She may have had to go back to the harem and join all the other women, and then she would not have had that kind of a voice to address the matter at hand, where Haman was just baying for blood. But there are things that God has already orchestrated, even before that point, to make it possible for us to succeed, for us to go through, for us not to fail. But if the king had died, probably that salvation would not have been through Queen Esther. In saving the king's life, Esther's mission was possible. And so going forward, do we see the hand of God even in the most difficult circumstances that we may be in right now? Are we more concerned about the reward we didn't get because we are the ones that, saved the king's life? Yet at the perfect time, the records were opened, and the king desired to reward the man who saved his life. The timing, Haman walking in through the palace gates. And I do not expect that after that, Mordecai would have been troubled ever again for not bowing to Haman. After it was Haman who had paraded him in the streets saying, "This is the man that the king seeks to honor." So everything turned out well from many angles. And we praise the Lord. And in the end, we have the Feast of Purim to celebrate. It started well before that, when the king's life was saved. So we see God's fingerprint all over this matter. So let us have hope and believe in a God who sees ahead of time what's coming. We may need to have courage. We may need to step up. We may need to arise. We may need to put up systems here and there. But it is God who makes all things possible. Are there aspects of your life where you can look back and say, God was in this and I did not know it? So I want us to be grateful to God for the things that He does in the background. There is always the backup. There is always the workings that we may not be aware of, that are actually connected. And it's interesting to think that the king raising his scepter so that Queen Esther could walk in and not die for approaching the king without prior notice. What if this was just a return of the favor? So God is working no matter what the weight of the matter is. May the Lord turn the tables in our favor. So in addressing the topic of one, we have looked at perspectives and mindsets. Now, Mordecai. How much Mordecai was able to do, and of course Esther, how much was able to do as individuals, just doing their part, having faith in God, and accomplishing so much, even the impossible. So where do we actually place our hope, and where do our answers come from? Praise the Lord.